Alright guys, how you doing? Welcome to another video. It's the special video we do this time of year every year. It's the squad update video. Who's left the club and why? Who's come in and why? How are we feeling about the season ahead? It's all going to be covered with me and with Devs in this video. You may have noticed I'm wearing a brand new hashtag kit, and behind Devs there's another brand new hashtag kit. It's the first time you guys are seeing it on YouTube, but we've got a brand new home and away Hummel kit, and for a little bit of a better look at them, take a look at this. So if you're an eagle-eyed viewer, you'd have seen that we have a nice little pattern on the home kit. It's also on the away kit as well. It's a noughts and crosses pattern that we come up with the guys at Hummel, because noughts and crosses is ultimately a hashtag. It's a game that Seb and I used to play a lot as kids, and we started thinking about how me and Seb playing games together is kind of how hashtag came about for us playing football and FIFA and all this stuff. So I love that. It goes across the home and away kit. Also, you notice we flipped the colours back on the home shirt again. So we kind of go sometimes blue with a bit of yellow, sometimes yellow with a bit of blue. This year, very much yellow with a bit of blue. I'm in love with these kits, as I always am. The guys from Hummel have smashed it. And the away kit, by the way, is very popular amongst the players and pretty much anyone that we've shown it to. So let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Which is your favourite, the home or the away? Which one are you going to get? Maybe get them both. #UnitedStore.com is the website you need to go to get the kits and all the other stuff that we sell. There's loads of items on there. Also, very soon we've got a third item coming, which is a brand new type of shirt we've never done before. It's very flexible, shall we say. It's a utility player of a shirt. It's a kind of a Phil Neville of a shirt. Actually, Phil Neville's not the best option. Who's Philip Lahm? When I say Phil Neville, Joe DeBell. It's a Joe DeBell of a shirt. You can play many positions. Can play a lot of positions, and you get, let's just say you get a lot of value for money. You get a lot of bang for your buck. 2 for the price of 1 is the biggest clue I'm going to give you on this item. Wow. If Phil Neville, if you're watching, I actually rate you as a player, because I see a lot of similarities in us in that we're versatile. We can play fullback, centre mid, and our brother's better than us. #UnitedStore.com. Get involved and send us a picture on Twitter, Instagram of you wearing your new kits. We love the support we get from all over the world. Devs, you got a favourite of the home or away?
I can't believe you've not asked me to wear the pink.
Well, we can get it on you if you want.
No, don't know if it'll fit.
Mate, they fit. We've got all sizes. We had Akinfenwa on the kit last year. We can make it work for anyone. Now to the business of this video, of course. This is always a really popular video because it gives us a chance to show you what's gone on, not just in sort of off-season and pre-season, but also a little bit before that as well. So we're going to talk about people that have left the club, people that are coming in, and why these things have happened. We're going to go through in position, as we always do. So we're going to start off with the goalkeeper position, and some of them we've covered already, one of them being Jacko. We talked about it a lot in the awards video, didn't we? Obviously, he's got Hall of Fame status now, but he has retired, and we're going to miss him.
Absolutely, yeah, of course. As I say, we've said everything there is to be said about Jacko, I think, and he's still reaping the rewards of little visits to the cinema and things like that. And so I think we'll still see him about, which would be great. And he knows he's welcome back any time, and he's one of those guys that just Hall of Famer. You can just get in anyway. Deservedly so.
You can come and use my shower whenever you want. You can hang out in my garage if you want. It comes along with it.
Got his Hall of Fame and free bus pass in the same week.
Freedom Pass. Well, you actually...
Is that what they're called now?
Yeah. If you watch my channel as well, guys, you will see Jacko play football again very soon, because we've got a cheeky little trip for our partners at Socios to Portugal this weekend, and we've got an OGs team playing in it, and Jacko's playing in it. So he's still around. You're going to see Jacko. Don't worry about that. So Jacko's left. Pagey was our number 1 really last year, wasn't he? And Pagey is staying, we can reveal.
Pagey's staying.
Happy with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Pagey had a really good season last year. And, hoping to see more from him again this season. Yeah,
we've got a solid goalkeeper there, but we've got a new goalkeeper as well, someone we've seen a little bit of in pre-season who's joined us, James Philp. What can you tell us about him?
So James, we've taken him from a team called Haverhill Rovers, who are operating Step 5. We had him watched a few times last year. I wanted 2 good goalkeepers. With Jacko, going, and even last year we knew it was coming with Jacko. He wasn't going to go on forever. It was about identifying someone that would come in and, offer real challenge to Pagey around, that number 1 position. And James has done really, really well pre-season. Really like what we see. He's still young. He's good size. He'd been really impressed with him. Still some bits to improve on and learn. But I think he's going to be a really good addition. And, you know, I was clear with Pagey that I'd be looking to bring another goalkeeper in, and it's for them to challenge for that position in the same way that, you know, we've got more midfielders that can play on a Saturday, you know, more centre backs that can play. It is about having depth, and it's a unique position, goalkeeping, in the sense that people always think, you know, there has to be a guaranteed number one, but often, you know, that's up to the players, and they're both fighting, have both had an equal amount of time in terms of minutes pre-season, and they're close.
Yeah, no, I've been enjoying watching both of them this pre-season, and we know, don't we, firsthand that you often need a lot more than two goalkeepers as well, like the FA Cup run we had.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting to see those two battle it out, and so that's our goalkeeping position sorted. Let's move into defence. Okay, so we've actually kept the lion's share of our defence, and I think that's a good thing, obviously, because our defence was, as the season went on, it was probably the area that improved the most, I think. And towards the end of the season, it became a case of we're keeping quite a lot of clean sheets in big games, and it's a young defence, isn't it?
That was the important thing. Young defence, you know, are gaining experience as they go. The likes of Harry, Matt, Ben, you know, got the experience of Eli in there, and Tommy Anderson as well. So, you know, it was the defence, if you like, was looking after itself, and it had to be someone really kind of stand out, you know, that I felt would significantly improve us, to come in and add to that area of the side. Yeah,
so the only defender we've lost really is Simon Peddy. We talked about as well previously. He's not retiring, but he's going to play a bit closer to home. He's sort of winding down.
Yeah, Peds has gone back to Peds has finished the season kind of on a dual registration with Brentford.
Yeah,
and he's signed for them again, and he'll be giving his experience and expertise to that side. He's playing under, you know, for a good club with a good manager, and he'll be brilliant for them, as he was absolutely brilliant for us and for me before we were even, you know, part of this club. So Peds will keep playing for as long as he can, and the fact that he's still playing.
That's amazing. Was he 40 now, isn't he?
He's in his 40s, yeah.
And based on his performances, I'd say he can keep playing for a fair bit.
Absolutely.
He's played a few really good games.
And that's not to say he couldn't have kept playing for us,
yeah.
But he has a work commitment that involves shift work, so he's not always available, and it becomes more difficult to recover from the niggles and strains of a regular season. So I think, you know, he's found a club where they're, you know, benefiting from him, and he'll benefit from the flexibility they're probably able to offer him.
Simon Peddy, once again, I want to say on the record that we thank you and we salute you, and you're a legend. Thank you for everything. So we'll go through the defence quite quickly then. But yeah, Harry Haysom obviously staying. We're really happy about that. He committed to us for this year as well as last year, midway through last season, and he's just growing all the time, isn't he, Harry?
Yeah.
So we're very happy.
It'd be important for Harry next season. It's that kind of, he's had one not even quite a full season, and it's important, you know, he continues to progress and kicks on from that.
Yeah, we showed our faith in his potential, and he showed his commitment to the club, so it's a great partnership. Yeah. Eli Benoit staying, Tom Anderson staying, which is fantastic. Matt Waldridge, who's one of the real success stories of the Last Academy series, played the third most minutes last year in the team. He's staying as well, and we've seen him play two different positions really in pre-season, haven't we? Because Ben Brooks, who's also staying, has been out for a bit.
Yeah, Ben's got a little bit of a niggling injury that we're having to nurse and look after him through pre-season, and hopefully he'll be back available close into the season. Mm-hmm. Not quite ready yet, but we took him out when we realised he had a scan, and he's got something. It's not particularly long term, but it could become serious if we don't look after it. So we're just trying to protect him through that. And Matt's shown his versatility as ever by playing at left back, and, you know, doing fantastically well there.
Matt Waldridge is who I should have said for versatility. We said Joe DeBell instead, which brings me on nicely to Joe DeBell, because I've got him down in our defence section now. We've seen him play up front, seen him play mostly centre mid for us, but in pre-season we've been playing him centre back. Can you talk us through that?
Yeah, he's had a couple of cameos in midfield as well. Joe's one who obviously didn't get a great deal of playing time last year, and we've spoke about where he's most likely to progress his career, and we've spoken. We see quite a lot of similarities in Joe, in the way that we saw Tommy Anderson progress. You know, starting out as a midfielder, and we kind of see that Joe's probably got the potential to be a good centre back. So whilst he's still got that flexibility about him, we're gonna look at how he can develop as a centre back, and he'll So that he's a bit of a work in progress, if you like. In more ways than one. If anyone's seen the pre-season videos. So.
If you watch the vlogs and the pre-season stuff and some of the stuff from last year as well, you'll know this already. But what you might not know if you only watch the games is that Joe's actually an amazing character in and around the club, isn't he? Like, very popular. And it's one of them where, it's the fact that he can play so many positions is another string to his bow.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's for him. And he's still really young. He's a lot younger than he looks. He's as young as he acts.
Yeah.
But so he's still kind of developing and growing as a player. So, we can, because of his character and his personality, you're even more keen to be patient with him. It's just about how patient Joe wants to be with it. But if we get to the point where we're denying him, he's not getting the game time that he needs, we'll address that. We'll see. But there's every chance there'll be opportunity in our first team to do that.
Great to hear. So DeBell stays. We mentioned Waldridge, Benoit, Haysom, Anderson, Brooks, of course, stays, although he's got a slight injury at the moment. Someone that is on the road to returning is Farai Singano. Obviously, if you've watched the last 18 months or so, you wouldn't have seen much of Farai. But if you watched a couple of years before that, the first 2 years non-league, very popular player, a very important centre-half for us. How's his recovery going?
He's progressing nicely. Faz, he's the new. Where's Farai? It's almost like the new. Where's Dan Brown? Isn't it? It's
more chance of seeing Farai again.
We've got more chance of seeing Farai again, but I think we need to be realistic as to when that will be, because someone's returned to training as he has. It doesn't mean he's ready to play. For example, we trained last night and we finished with an 11-a-side training game. He's not quite ready for that even yet. Right. So he's aiming for the end of August for some minutes, but that would be reserve minutes. Yeah. There's one thing being, fit, but then there's being football fit, and then we've got to expect there may be the odd setback in his recovery. There's a chance that he'll pick up additional little niggles where he's been focusing on the injured part of his body so much. So we just need to be if we see Farai kick a ball for the first team this season, it'll be a huge bonus.
Really? That
huge
long?
Bonus. I think we have to be realistic. Let's not put pressure on. He's been out for nearly 2 years.
Yeah. I'm sort of playing devil's advocate here, but at the same time, I'm hearing rumours that when he has been training in the stuff he has been able to take part in, he's looked decent. That's what some of the players have told me.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of an unwritten rule that if that some of the new boys won't have known about until the last week. But if you're in training, you want to be on the same side as Faz.
Yeah, right, okay, he's a beast.
I'll give you a clue. If Joe's picking sides and he decides to join in, he makes sure he's on Faz's team every time he says, "Well, I'm with Faz." Because he trains as he plays, which is obviously a fantastic thing.
We'll look forward to that one. It might be a bit of a slow burner of a return because we've got to make it right. But we do hope we'll see.
Key is manage expectation with the guys that are watching this, really.
Yeah.
That it's not us holding him back, but it is about us getting him right.
Okay, so as we mentioned, defence fairly stable, which is a good thing. There's been one addition though, Billy Willis. Mm-hmm. He's played a lot of pre-season, mostly at right back.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about him?
Well, Billy's asked to come in and have a go. We were aware of him. He played in our league last year. Fantastic lad, great attitude, fantastic character. He's an example of someone who's got a chance and taken it.
Yeah, that's what I like. I welcome Billy. He was captain of Witham last year, I believe. He's played for a lot of other teams as well. I think Canvey, was it one of them? Haybridge, I think. There's quite a few teams.
He's been around this. He's a good age. He's not old. He's a good age, but he's been around this level since he was a youngster. And I'd say in terms of his attitude and his personality, he's very, very similar to Kane Brogan.
Okay, yeah, which is another fan favourite. Someone that's also returned to the club to help with our under-18s. Ricky Evans has returned to the club as well, if you didn't know. He's manager of our reserves now, which brings us on to one of our exits in the midfield, because he also was the reserve team manager. As we go into the midfield, this has probably been the position where there's been the most movement. Players coming in, players going out as well. So there's a lot to talk about. Starting off with the players that are staying put. Yoni Vukac has had a great pre-season. Has that surprised you? by how good it's been?
No, I mean he's had a good solid pre-season, I think, and Yanni's peaks in pre-season have been very, very high. Yanni's one who, to be honest, we weren't sure would come back.
Yeah, because he has ambitions.
He's got ambitions to play abroad.
Is he still a plan for him?
I haven't spoken not immediately, not at least. I think he's kind of put those plans on hold a little bit because things haven't quite happened. But I think long term they probably are, which is one of the reasons why the incomings kind of raised as well, because a pre-season, Yanni came back to pre-season, we weren't quite sure whether he would stay the whole pre-season, but he's someone who you can see has worked extremely hard on himself over the close season, and he's come in pre-season ahead of people.
Yeah, fitness
give himself a head start. So he's for Yanni, it's about continuing that and building on that consistently. But he's had a good pre-season, and he's it's great that we're retaining him.
So Yanni stays. Another player from the academy, of course, that's sticking put, which is great. Lewis Watson stays as well. Very popular player. Made a big impact when he joined us last season. And something else you want to announce about Lewis Watson?
Yeah, Lou's going to take on the captaincy.
Okay.
I think he had a huge impact on us when he came in last season. Results improved around. He's a good character. He's got great work rate. There's still room for him to improve as well, and he's someone who wants to improve. And so we've had discussions. We've looked at a few things over the course of pre-season, and just confirmed this week with him that he'll be the captain for this season.
Congratulations, Lewis! Only the 4th ever officially appointed captain of #United. There was me, Jack Harrison, Ross Gleed, Lewis Watson. You're the new one, so well done to you, Lou. And then the only other actual midfielder, we're talking about really central midfielders here, not so much attacking ones, just staying is Iola Adebayo, not to be confused with Adebayo Akinfenwa, who we tried to sign, but obviously we couldn't quite get that done. We haven't seen him in pre-season though, Iola. Really.
No, he's been injured.
Right.
Unfortunately, right at the beginning of pre-season, Iola picked up an ankle injury that he's only just returned to training with. People may have seen him on the trip to Jersey. The plan was for him to play in Jersey, but he broke down in the warm-up of the first game. So that's obviously set Iola back. But we'll see where he is in terms of his recovery. Hopefully, we're hoping that he'll get some minutes in the reserves this weekend. But still someone we've got high hopes for. But he's unfortunately through injury fallen behind.
Still very young, isn't he? He's 19.
Yeah, but he's got a bit of catching up to do in terms of his fitness levels, but also the stability in his ankle.
Yeah, he was showing some good signs towards the end of last season. Showing some real development. So look forward to seeing Iola return. We mentioned that Lewis is the new captain. That's because this is something we haven't talked about yet. No. We haven't announced it yet because we were waiting for this video. But sadly, Ross Gleed has departed the club. Can you give us a little insight as to how that's happened?
Yeah, firstly, I think we just got to talk about how brilliant Gleed has been for us. In our first season, he came in and had a huge. My first season, obviously, first season in the non-league pyramid, and he came in and had a huge impact on the side that helped us win the league. Captained us in the absence of Jack, that would then become a long-term thing. Led us brilliantly. Had fantastic season in the Essex Senior League that led to us getting promoted. Showed versatility in terms of the positions he played. Quite unassuming lad, Gleedy, off the pitch, but led by a real example for us, and been a fantastic servant to us. Over 100 appearances, which a young club like ours is no mean feat, given the interrupted seasons as well. But had conversation with Ross kind of close after the end of last season, and people would have noticed he didn't play as many games last year as we would have liked or he would have liked, largely due to kind of fitness issues, picking up knocks and niggles. And I spoke to Ross at the end of the season, and he wasn't happy in himself with his levels of fitness and his condition. He said to me, he said, "Look, I'm going to take a little bit of break to work on myself," which I think was a really kind of difficult decision for him to take, but one I had huge respect for. want to take a bit of time to focus on himself. And he said, if I can get myself back to the levels that I know I need to be at and that I want to be at, then I'll be the first phone call that he makes. So he's not gone anywhere else.
Yeah.
Would love, absolutely love, for Ross to still be playing. I'd rather him be playing for someone else than not playing at all.
Yeah, it's a waste.
You know, it's and certainly I know his family have been huge supporters of the club and him. So it's a big shift for them to deal with as well. But ultimately, he's got to be happy in what he's doing. You know, we leave on great terms, and we've left it to this point before announcing and we've had this conversation with Ross because he's not going anywhere else, or he hasn't gone anywhere else. So, which is free to do if he's to choose to, but he hasn't done that. So therefore, we didn't feel the need to rush an announcement out where it goes out in dribs and drabs. I think we needed to be in a position to do him justice in terms of what we say about him and how much we think of him and how important he's been to this club and how much we love him, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I spoke to him when he made the decision as well, and it's only a shame really that it came after the awards, because I think he would have probably been in contention for Hall of Fame as well and all kinds of things. I think with Ross though, he's of an age there where I agree with you, he should still be playing.
Ultimately, he's still of an age where we could have made this big fuss and then he was playing for us in 2 months' time. So I don't think we ever, you know, it's one of those where hopefully we see him back.
Yes.
With us. If not, hopefully we see him back playing football somewhere else.
There's no doubt about his ability to play at this level, you know,
and beyond. He's certainly got the capabilities, but he's also mature enough to recognise that probably he's not where he needs to be or wants to be. So,
well, fair enough. Well, again, on the record, Ross, we thank you for everything you've done for the club. We hope to see you back. But yeah, for this season, certainly Ross isn't going to be at the start anyway.
Hopefully we'll see him about, you know.
And Steve Gleed, his dad, and all those guys, because they've been an amazing support. And if you ever came to a game, you would have, if you didn't meet him, you'd have heard him. So Steve's been a great support, as is the whole family. So we hope to see the Gleeds, all of them, at games soon. A couple more departures to talk about in midfield, though. So we talked about this with the fact that Ricky Evans has returned as reserve manager because Kears has moved on. So this was just after the awards ceremony. This happened. He had some personal stuff going on, which basically was an opportunity for him to go and get an opportunity to drop a level, but maybe get a better deal, should we say? Yeah,
I think so. I think that's without going into too much detail. I think that's fair, and we had to respect that. Also, from my point of view, we brought Kears in as the reserve team manager, and then he ended up doing an amazing job for us on the pitch. And I was a little concerned that I was depending on him too much in the first team and taking away from the reserve element of it. In terms of, you know, being the manager of the reserves, I'm very conscious of how that may affect the younger group of players we've got within the club. So I had that conversation with him about, you know, I felt like I needed to move the club to a point where we weren't denying the reserve group, who were a very young group, of their manager, if you like.
Yeah. We were reliant on him last year, because he played, I think, second most minutes of anyone.
And most appearances, I think.
Yeah, most games featured him. So that was something that was never a plan when he came to the club. He just became important for us.
Yeah, which, you know, obviously was credit to him. But then, you know, say he had, you know, family circumstances have changed for him, where certain things, priorities change, and he had an opportunity for a move that kind of made sense for him in more than one way. So, you know, we respect that and wish him all the very best.
100%. Kears, thank you for everything. Wish you the best. Lee Hursit, another player that's been with us an awful long time, since before non-league actually started, before. Crazy origin story, Lee, where he came in as a Wembley Cup competition winner, and we just basically kept him about from then. But he's moved to Holbridge, which is a couple of people have gone to Holbridge. They've got when we play them, we're going to have a bit of a reunion. Yeah. But what happened with Lee?
I think it's kind of well documented, you know, or well known within the club, and you know, the viewers, is that Lee's had this long-standing issue with injury, where it's prevented him being able to play back-to-back games. And had conversation with Lee at the end of the season where that's obviously, I mean, it's frustrating for all of us. It's frustrating for me as a manager, you know, having to manage that, but more frustrating for the player that there would be times where he felt 100% fit but wasn't playing because somebody else was playing and doing well. And, you know, the knowledge that he might come in for one game and then be out is very difficult to guarantee him increasing minutes. One of those situations where if sentiment and, you know, your kind of affection for someone was the main part of my job, then he would still be here and we would be juggling around that. But he felt that he needed to go and at least try and see. And the good news is that from what I can see, he's been playing, you know, pre-season, and I think he played for them in the FA Cup game the weekend. So he's playing, that's great. And again, another one who's been absolutely brilliant for us in more ways than just what he's produced for us on the football pitch. And we miss him greatly, but wish him all the best.
Yeah, we are going to miss Lee. It feels like this is sort of this summer is probably, since the summer we went into non-league, the biggest kind of change up. But and that's not necessarily the case in terms of player movement. We've always had a lot of player movement, but it's like a group, isn't it? It's a certain group of guys that are very close that have all, for different reasons, but found it's the right time to move on. Maybe it's lack of game time.
Yeah, it's kind of an evolution, isn't it, of a club and a team. It's teams go through changes, and this has been a fairly significant close season for the type of change we've had. But as you say, it's pretty fluid anyway. You know, at this level, because they're not contracts, and I can understand that it will feel strange, frustrating, disappointing, upsetting for people that become attached to those individuals. But my job is to then make us better as a team.
Yes.
And then the new guys that come in become familiar faces to those watching, and that affinity. And it's like with any team you support, you know, it's
even with
you have your favourite players that retire and leave, but you'll get new favourite players, and you'll get people you kind of you know, take to and warm to, and it's just it's the difference with our level is that any new signings we make, most of our audience don't know about.
You get a new guy come in and he hasn't got that affinity with the players, but in a half a season or maybe even a couple of weeks,
we see guys that, you know, you talk about, you mentioned about earlier about the OGs being back together, and we've seen guys that have been with us for maybe a season being referred to as OGs because they're leaving, and so that's how it works. You know, heroes move on, and then it's time for you to have new heroes.
Well, someone else is moving on, who I know will be something that the fans will be sad to see go, is Jesse Wallace. So he's been with us sort of on and off for 3 seasons, I think now. The 2 of them were the COVID interrupted seasons. He obviously left after Christmas one year and then came back. But it's been a great player in terms of the goals and assists he's added to us. But he's going to be moving on. Can you tell us a bit more about that? Obviously, we have announced this as well on our Instagram and Twitter. Just a reminder, if you don't follow us on Instagram and Twitter, make sure you do, because you often get news first there. It's at #UTD on Instagram and on Twitter.
I kind of sensed it was probably coming with Jesse anyway. He only played, I think, 25 games for us last season, which might surprise a lot of people. And I think after from January onwards, it may have been as little as kind of 5 or 6 games that he featured for us. So he struggled a bit last year with kind of some niggly injuries. But speaking to him at the end of the season as well, he spoke about how he had found it tough going in terms of the slog that he's a non-league season and the travelling. He travelled a little bit further than most of the other guys. Obviously, we'd experienced that previously with Jesse in his first season with us. So the first COVID hit season, he'd stopped playing before Christmas. And I got a message from him, I think, just before pre-season to say that he decided to go and do pre-season with another club at our level, which I understand he's signed for. Another team at our level, but in a different league. So we won't see him in the league. You know, we won't come up against him in the league.
Closer to home for him, isn't it?
It's close. It'll be closer to home for him. Yeah. So we wish Jesse all the very best and thank him for everything. He's had some amazing moments for us. Some real standout kind of things that you associate,
There's some great moments against us as well. Well, one moment against us at Wembley, which you'd like to remind us about.
But wish Jesse all the best.
Yep, as do I. Jesse, thank you for all your fantastic goals, assists and contributions. So that's the sort of central midfield area departures. But there's a lot of additions in this area as well. It's probably the most, I would say, sort of the biggest transition that we've seen in our team, I think, is in that centre of the park. Yeah. Because there's so many new faces. And for me, that again, no disrespect to anyone leaving, but the competition for places and the quality we've got there, watching the games in pre-season is a just different world to what we've seen before. So let's talk about some of those additions. Big one we made a big splash about, obviously, is PK. PK Humble, real name Percy Kiang Benny. Off the pitch, he's a personality in himself, which is kind of why he's a really good fit for us. He's part of the Filthy Fellas that you might know Poet is part of, and people like Scribs and Specs and all these guys. He does a lot of stuff with JD. He's with that sort of Chunks crowd, does stuff with Chloe Burrows, who of course is with Toby, who's with our team. But footballing wise, even if you take all the off the pitch stuff away, it's a really good addition for us because the level he's played at before.
Yeah, I mean, we've got him from Enfield Town, who league above, just missed out in the playoffs for promotion to league above that last year.
He could have easily been a Conference South player.
Yeah, and he has Conference South experience as well. Very, very good footballer. Quiet, unassuming lad off the pitch.
It's a joke, by the way, if you can't tell.
But yeah, he's been good. He's been good for the changing room, and he's been good for us on the pitch as well. And I kind of feel, and I expect actually, I'm going to say this because in case he sees it, because I expect him to get even better. When the real stuff starts, if you like. But he's that undoubted quality to the side.
Can you explain to me what Jinky Majinky is? No, I don't know what it is either, but he definitely does
He makes up words.
Yeah.
Jinky Majinky.
But it looks good when he does it. Jinky Majinky, look out for that this year.
He makes up words, he makes up stories. He's always got something to say, but it never makes sense.
And he didn't let Akinfenwa take a penalty. We could have had Akinfenwa, one goal, one appearance for the tags, but PK took the penalty. So, cheers, mate. But he's in, and I'm very happy with that one. We probably did our biggest player announcement ever in terms of the video we produced, which I was really happy with. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I think you'll find it on our Instagram, our Twitter, our YouTube Clips channel. We'll put a link in the description as well. You need to watch that video. But perhaps because of the fuss we made about the PK signing, another centre mid addition we had, which doesn't come with the same sort of glitz and glamour of the YouTube world, but he's actually a massive addition, isn't it? Is Max Cornhill. Talk to me about Max.
Max is the midfield area is an area I felt we needed to strengthen and be better in anyway on the whole. So the signings of Max and PK have kind of have been really what I've been looking to do towards the end of the season anyway, about making us stronger in there. Max comes with, say, fantastic experience. Won this league a couple of times, but he's also played as high as the National League. For a player that's never played professionally, he's probably achieved as much as you can for a player that hasn't played professionally. He's had FA Cup runs. I think got as far as the second round, may even be a third round. He's scored big goals in the FA Cup, but he's comes with fantastic experience and ability, and he won that. The highlights, he might creep under the radar in the highlights because everything he does well, but he does without fuss. He's a manager's, coach's, but also teammates' dream of a player, as I would explain, because he will do anything to help his team. He'll do all the ugly stuff, but he's got real quality about him as well. And he's experienced to say, so he's got that old head as well, but he really looks after himself. I mean, he's a fitness freak.
Yeah, he's a personal
as you probably know.
He actually does. He does live streams on his Instagram. Yeah. When he's just he's 35 years old, but
that's a hobby, by the way.
That's.
You say it's not even his full time job. He gets up, he does all this stuff before his work because he's an animal.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he's probably one of our fittest players.
Yeah,
which is pretty incredible for a 35-year-old.
Yeah.
Sort of James Milner vibes that you see what James Milner does in pre-season. And if he does creep under the radar in terms of highlights, remember you can watch the full 90 minutes. If you become members of games, we do upload them. You get the full 90 minutes. You'll also see live streams as well, and it helps the club. That money from your membership subscription goes straight towards Devs' transfer budget. So look, Devs, this is an appeal from Devs. For just £5 a month, you can help Devs bring in the next big player. Right, get involved, guys.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, well, it has to come from somewhere, mate. So centre mid has been improved for sure, but there's another addition as well, Iman Akunja. I've heard that he's known as the non-league Kante. He said that, but other people have said that too. You've seen him a lot now.
Yeah, he's another boy. He's another one who can run.
Yeah, he can run.
Yeah,
I actually saw on his Instagram the other day. He did a little 5K. He posted it. I think he did it in
does it in about 3 minutes.
No, like 17 minutes or something.
He's sub 18. I think.
I'm trying to get it to 20. And that's hard. And I'm not terribly unfit. So Iman must be super fit.
No, great. Another fantastic lad, good experience, great energy about the place, on and off the pitch, real good addition to our side. He's played at this level, but he's played, the leagues above and below this, so he's got a real kind of range of experience of what's required, and he's been really good pre-season. It's great to have E-Man on board.
You're going to have a real headache in this part of the pitch, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's a good headache.
Yeah.
But it is a headache.
Things always happen though, and this is a thing we have to be kind of prepared for, because you can feel overloaded one week and then light the following. It's just the nature of it. I
think that's one thing that
it will be tough for me when I've got everyone, and I hope to have everyone available. But we need to be a squad, and we've had this conversation as a group, as the players, about if we go into, if we're going to do well this season, it takes more than 11 players.
Of course, yeah. And that's something I've noticed coming to games in pre-season when we've had a few players out. I feel as much as I might want certain players to play, I feel that we're safe without them. Do you know what I mean? We can still win games and go and challenge with the guys that step in, which I think has not been the case
always.
So much. No. So I think that's really good. And hopefully the players that are, maybe finding themselves out the team for a period, do be patient, because I think it's going to be a really good squad to be part of this year. I think we've seen that already in the pre-season. We'll get on to talk about, but there's a different kind of mood about the club, isn't there? A different kind of feeling. Even the content guys have been saying to me, making content, the guys it just feels like there's a nicer sort of environment around, which is not to say we've ever had a bad environment at the club, but far from it. But you can feel something's cooking, which I like. Right, there's one more player to talk about in this sort of part of the pitch, Mackay Hyde, who you would, if you've watched some pre-season games on the videos, you would have seen a little bit of him. Is he joining the club as well? Yeah,
so Mackay's with us, really, really impressive pre-season, but then he's picked up an ankle injury. So we're looking at that. We're speaking about whether we can do something with Mackay. Obviously, there's a lot of competition in the squad, but that could change quickly, as we know. But we're having conversations with Mackay at the moment, but that's been put on hold a little bit because he's got a little bit of an injury that's going to rule him out for the next kind of 2 or 3 weeks.
Right, okay. Lots of changes in the centre of midfield particularly, but some really strong additions, feeling good about that part of the pitch. Let's talk about the attacking positions, sort of striker, wingers as well. People that are staying, we obviously announced already that Jermaine Francis committed his season to the club, which is fantastic. Obviously, player with a bright future, very ambitious player, joined us just after Christmas, set the world alight really, didn't he, in terms of what he added. And he's staying with us. He's got a little bit of an injury though. Yeah,
he gave us a bit of a scare last week in training. Went down, quite innocuous, but at first it looked quite serious, but we're thinking it's not so serious. But he's picked up a bit of a knock, which will probably rule him out for the opening for this weekend. Yeah. The opening fixtures, but
FA Cup game will be
potentially, but it might be too soon. It's one of those where we really just need to.
Don't want to risk it.
No, and that's the important thing. You say it's a long season, and we'd rather get him back right than rush him back and then lose him for a longer period. The
bigger picture is though that Jermaine stays, which is great. Yeah. I just sort of mentioned it there, but a reminder, we are in the FA Cup again this year as well, which is amazing. As you know, we got a bye in the first round for us because of where we finished in the league. We finished 8th. I think we got maybe the final bye position, or was it 12 teams that got the bye position? I don't know. Some teams from our league get a bye, some don't. We got one. We play the winner of 2 teams from the sort of Bedfordshire region that are playing actually a replay tonight because they drew their original game. it'll be in 20th of August. So try and get down to that one, especially if you're in the Bedfordshire region. Keep a lookout on our socials for that. Toby Aroma-Laren stays with us, which is great. Popular player, and he's been pretty good in pre-season.
Yeah, Tobe stays. Had a really good pre-season. He had a bit of an unfortunate ending to last season where he picked up some injuries and it really found it hard to get going again. But he's looked sharp pre-season. He's been really good. So
fantastic.
Yeah, fantastic to keep Tobes.
Hopefully we'll see plenty more arrows this season. Another man beginning with A, Kojo Penteng, finished the season really strong, didn't he? And he's carried that on to pre-season as well. Yeah,
Kojo was a slow burner last year for a number of reasons. He had some injuries. He had some family commitments, which meant he was out of the country for a while. So it was really quite a slow start for him and a frustrating one for him, because by the time he did get himself fit, we were going well and it was difficult to break in. And then he got into the side towards the end of the season and warranted his place. And he's carried on pre-season in the same vein. He's been really good. So yeah.
Another great player to have with us again. So Kojo Penteng stays. There's been a few departures in this area. I'll start off with probably the one that would be maybe the most talked about. I don't know if that's fair, actually, because they're all interesting. But Sam Bantic has departed, not for the first time. Second time he's left the tags. What's happened there?
So obviously spoke with Sam over the close season. He's chosen to go and play for another team in our league, which is his prerogative.
Unprecedented.
We had a conversation. We agreed a deal. He told me he was going to stay. He gave me his word that he would be staying, but ultimately something changed his mind, and he fairly soon after doing that, I got a message from him to say that he was going to leave, which is disappointing. But ultimately, if someone doesn't want to stay at the club, what is the point in keeping them?
Yeah,
I don't hold it, and there will be people out there that say you should have offered them whatever they wanted and things like that. I'll never buy into that, because I'll bankrupt your football club, and that's not my job. My job is to create the best team possible, and my aim for pre-season was to make us better than we were last season, not better than we were at the beginning of last season, better than we were at the end of last season, and I'm confident that we're there already. We've not started to say, but I'm confident that we are better and we will be better than we were last season.
I think with Sam, it's hopefully he doesn't mind me saying this, but you never really feel comfortable with Sam at the club. Like, you never know if he's going to stay for too long.
We knew, and in this instance, Sam's a great lad. Right? But we knew what we were getting when we signed Sam.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's not.
We lost him once.
It's not a shock. So it's not, and it won't be a shock to the local non-league world. So it's not something that's like. It's not a disaster.
No,
a disaster would be something that took you by surprise, and it wasn't. Ultimately, it wasn't a surprise.
It's something you got to plan for, I think, with Sam. And Sam's getting to a point in his career now as well, where he's getting older. Obviously, he's in his 30s, so he's probably looking all. I think he's kind of done this throughout his career, but certainly now he's always thinking like, where's the next sort of offer, the best offer I can get, because he's only going to get so many, right? And I think that's fair to say. I think that. When you have Sam Bantic at your club, you have to always have a contingency plan, because it can happen, and it has happened. And listen, I'm not the first person in non-league to say that. I'm not trying to throw him under the bus by saying that. I'm just saying it like it is from our perspective. If you see an announcement from us or any club that Sam plays for saying Sam's gone, no one at that club will be surprised.
I think it's important to say that Sam didn't pose us any problems at all. Sam was as good as gold. It is what it is, and it's probably more of a shock to the outside than it is to the inside. But we kind of have to progress and move on from that, and that's not proved easy, by any stretch.
He's guaranteed goals pretty much, isn't he? At this level, he's always done that, and I think that's why you always have teams coming in for him.
Yeah,
because especially if it's a new team that are trying to put a new attack together, and they're like, where am I going to get my goals from? You look at someone like Sam Bantic; he's a guy who gets you goals,
and the job he did for us. At a time when we were desperate for it, goals. He came in and he got goals and kind of give us the lift that we needed.
I think what it does go to show though is it shows how big a commitment and how well the guys have done that have stayed with us for like 3 or 4 years. Because don't think they didn't get offers. Do you know what I mean? Like some of these boys, like even though they might have left this summer, like the Gleedies, the Lee Hurstits, all these guys, they might have had multiple offers over every single season for more money, and they always stayed. And I think that's a rarity really in non-league, isn't it? Generally, you don't get a lot of that.
It's probably just it's the same any walk of life, isn't it? It's just there's just more freedom in at the level we work at because, as I say, you're not contracted. But ultimately, to keep someone, all parties have to be happy.
Someone else that came in and added goals to us last year that's not going to be with us this year is Luke Hurst.
Yeah.
What happened on this one?
So, so a conversation with Luke, of course, the close season, really just to say that it was an area of the pitch I was looking to strengthen in as well, and that there would be, added competition. But he had some offers as well. So I think it was one of those where I wasn't prepared to offer a guarantee of plays of starts, and somewhere else was. So he chose to move on, and we wish him all the best. But again, came in and had a fantastic impact for us when we needed it. If anything, we were over dependent on those two guys getting our goals last year.
Yeah.
Whereas I think what we've seen from pre-season so far is that the goals are far more evenly spread. We've got more of a threat throughout the squad. There's only been a couple of games where we've got less than 3 goals in pre-season. We've had some good tests, so we've got goals in the side.
No, we thank Luke Hurst and Sam Bantic, who was sort of joint top goal scorers last year. But we challenged a new player or an existing player to beat that because there's only 10 goals that got top goal scorer last year, which was low. Obviously, neither of them played a full season with us, but we'll see. I'd like to think someone's going to get much more than 10 this year. Few more departures to talk about. Triple H we'll just quickly do because we did give him his sort of big farewell in the awards video. Check that out if you haven't seen it. Another Hall of Famer recently inducted. Legend, but has moved on, and he's also joining the likes of Lee Herseth and George Smith at Holbridge.
Yeah, love-hate relationship with H. But it's not really. It was just, that's more a joke. He knows exactly what I think of him. He's been absolutely fantastic. For this football club especially, I think was probably the perfect signing for us when we needed him, and stayed for, up until now from let's say, the 4 years, and been, deserves his place in the Hall of Fame for the way he helped elevate us particularly in that first season. But I think equally for someone who was denied game time by me, and this was a conversation I had with H. I had to be honest with him that I could have lied to him and he'd stayed, I think. But I think it was important to be honest that I couldn't guarantee that situation would change, and he felt he needed to go somewhere where he could, get more football, and who would I be to stand in the way of that?
Exactly. He had a good run. I think he timed it well. His time with us.
I think he's I can't speak highly enough for him
as
a person and a player.
100%, and hope to see him around soon. Certainly we'll be against him this year, of course. Jake Lindsay, obviously winner of the Hashtag Academy. We had 2 winners actually playing in the team together last year, which were pretty at times, which was Jake and Josh Asude. Both, obviously Josh moved on mid last season, but Jake has also moved on to find a club closer to home. Yeah,
lot of travelling, a lot of stress for Jake in terms of that bit. Travelled the furthest out of anyone. I was unable to again offer Jake any guarantees, and there's a long way to come without any guarantees.
Yeah.
He unfortunately didn't work out for him last year until he picked up some illness, which really affected him. We put him out on loan to try and get his confidence back and get his fitness back, and that didn't quite happen. And he was became the competition's been so steep that I kind of had to have a difficult chat with Jake around being fair to him and not expecting him to travel all that way and be denied something. He's a young lad, and if he's found somewhere same league as us, like same level as us, closer to home, and that's where he, if he can go and play regularly there, then that'd be brilliant for him.
Yeah, we wish him the best. Lovely lad.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think still got bundles of potential. If he can unlock what he can do, we've seen him do it multiple times. He's going to have a great career. This player didn't play for us last year. Hasn't really played for us for a couple of years actually, but we never really revisited it. But Albie Keefe, he's not playing anywhere.
No, Albie's got a long-standing injury issue that just prevents him from playing football.
It's a shame.
It's a real shame.
Which is the Keefe family are so kind of
absolutely, yeah, exactly that. And we know, we still see the family every game, and in touch with Albi just this week as well. So it's just, he's focusing on his work career at the moment, and I think he's working abroad and he's doing really well. We wish him all the best for that. And I think it just got to the point where he wasn't getting the answers that he needed to give him the encouragement to carry on. But it's very sad that someone as young as Albi's not able to play.
Yeah, and as talented, because multiple promotions of us, of course. No doubt he could play the level we're at now. He's just not able to. But it happens. I mean, it happens up and down the country. You know, he's great players not playing. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. But Albie, hopefully, you do play football again one day. But if you don't, thank you very much for what you've done for the club, and we hope to see you at games. We see all his family at games. That we love them. Okay, so there's some additions in the attacking positions as well, though. We've got to talk about one player who's scored some decent goals in pre-season, a fair few goals already, and one of them's got 4.5 million views on TikTok. We are on TikTok, don't forget, follow us on TikTok, link in the description. Pedro Carvalho. It's a name that just sounds good at football, and he is quite good at football. I've seen him, and
It'd sound even better if I gave you his full name, but I can't remember it.
It's a lot of names. But even Adebayo Akinfenwa, when he came down, he shouted out Pedro as a player, and I mean, it's a great addition.
Yeah, he's been excellent, Pedro. We got him, fortunate to get him from our landlord at Bowers. He'd been playing in Portugal last season, come over, finished the season at Bowers. He actually played against us a few years ago when was Bowers under 23s. He's electric with a ball. He's powerful. He can finish both feet, as we've seen pre-season. He's an intelligent footballer. He works hard, real energy. Yeah, he's had a really good start, and we're looking forward to see what we get from him. Yeah,
he'll be another one I think that you guys particularly are going to like to watch. Alex Teniola, AT, big man, Teniola time, played against him multiple times as well. Mm-hmm. Also, you might be familiar, is played for Beatty's squad, another YouTube team as well. He's a striker, obviously.
Yeah, striker, different to anyone else we've had really in terms of, I'd call an out-and-out number 9 probably since Richo. Richo, yeah. That kind of out-and-out number 9. Alex is, and his good experience of the level. And he's been another really good addition and fantastic lad as well. I think certainly kind of in the non-league, in our kind of non-league world, where he's, because of the Teniola time and stuff, and they kind of look past, that's his brand, if you like, and his persona for the screen, which is something he does. But I think that sometimes does him a bit of a disservice in terms of how good a character he is and how good a lad he is to have around. So really, really pleased to have Alex with us. Yeah,
look forward to seeing what he can do. He's like a content creator and a presenter as well in his own right off the pitch. So again, a really nice fit for the club, I think, because I think it's always worth saying, like, these guys do kind of pique our interest when they have that about them, but it always comes after football. Like, they've got to be improving our team. They've got to be the right characters for what we're trying to do as a football team. But for me, if they have that other bit about them, it just makes me think, they're going to like what we do. There's going to be a nice synergy there, because there is always often players that don't quite enjoy the environment that we create, because it is different, isn't it? Yeah. Teniola time, AT, Alex.
Yeah, and a bit different to say, gives us another option, gives us a different option in that forward area. Yeah. A bit different to anyone else we've got.
One more player we've just seen a few glimmers of at the back end of pre-season here is Afo Soyemi. He's just joined us. Is he on trial? Is he joining the club?
Yeah, Afo's come in. He's we're aware of him last year, but he's been playing in the States, so he needs international clearance. So we're looking at Afo at the moment, and it's probably a little bit too early to say too much, because he's only featured in a couple of games. But
yes, we may see him. Yeah, okay. But he's like a winger, can play through the middle as well, attacking player. Good. Okay, cool. So that's kind of it in terms of additions. How have you found pre-season in general? I mean, let's look at the results first and foremost. So we've played 10 games. We always go quite heavy on pre-season, I think. Some teams don't play as many. 7 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses. That's a pretty good pre-season record. I know you can't buy too much in, because if you lose your first game of the season, suddenly pre-season...
this time last year I would have said to you, I don't take any notice of getting better. Certainly I remember a couple of years ago when we had a couple of heavy defeats, and I said, look, it's irrelevant, it's pre-season. If I was to sit here and say, it's been brilliant, it's amazing because we're winning games now, I'd be a hypocrite. So it is pre-season. But in terms of our preparation in terms of what we've done. I think the Jersey trip was huge for us. Bringing the group together is really, really helpful.
Make sure you watch those Jersey videos if you haven't, because they've got the match highlights from the 2 games we played there. But you also see a lot of stuff off the pitch, which is arguably more important, really, in the grand scheme of things, isn't it? Is that bonding?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any thoughts on the start to the season? We start with an away game to Bury, which is one of the better supported clubs in the league. I think we had 500-600 people there, and we went there back end of last year. And they're usually trying to go strong in the league. It's usually their ambition. And then East Thurrock is a big one 2 days later on the Monday night at home, because that is really such an interesting game for me, the East Thurrock one, because obviously the history there of you, my dad, Keithy, multiple players that have played for both Tom Anderson. But also the fact that when we started our non-league journey, they were in the National League South and we were in Step 6, and now we're in the same league. Yeah,
things move quickly. And it's
a tough start to the league.
It's an extremely tough start. I mean, if you look beyond, you then got the FA Cup, and then we go with Stowmarket and Brentwood in the same weekend, who were obviously both finished in the playoffs last year, finished 3rd and 4th. We've got a very, very tough start.
Have you got an aim points wise
on paper? But fortunately, football isn't played on paper, so no aim points wise. The aim really for the season is to be better than we were last year.
And you're happy with the squad you've put together to achieve those goals?
Yeah. I think we're in a good place. Are you looking to make any more
additions, or
you never stop looking? Things will change over the course of the season.
Always
because
does,
we know that we talk about this level. It will. There's always a fluidity about things.
I think this time last year we almost issued a little bit of an expectation management warning to our fans, didn't we? We said, look, we're coming into a new league. We've had back-to-back promotions. We've always been winning. That's probably not going to be the case this year. And we were right. We started off badly. We were out the FA Cup very early. We had a few bad defeats early doors. Didn't take us long to get our first victory though, and then we eventually found our feet. So we kind of
felt long.
It felt long. It always does at the time.
And that's the thing. It's distorted, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think we were right in our expectations though, and hopefully the people at home can appreciate that, and also the journey we've been on. Yes, we didn't win as many games as we used to last year, but it was our best ever finish on the pyramid because we're 8th in a new league we've never been in before. So we've always been going like that. Our ambition this year is very much to improve on that again. So, let's see what we do. Let's see if we can improve on that 8th spot and where that looks like. Because it will mean if we do achieve that, the club has only ever gone upwards every single year, which is a hell of an achievement considering how old we are now. So my kind of message to the fans this year would probably be one of, we are going to improve, but don't expect that to be, chalk and cheese from last year. Because if you actually look at last year, how we finished, it was pretty decent. I think once we got to the point where we were in the playoff conversation, we played some big games and we dropped some points we probably look back on and think we shouldn't have because we'd done so well to get us in that position. But at the same time, the improvement from Christmas on, or just before Christmas, was incredible. Like the run we went on of 7 wins in a row, whatever it was, 8 wins. It was amazing to turn that round. So we're not necessarily... There's a lot of good things about last year, which kind of probably got ignored because of what happened before it. We want to emulate a lot of that and just improve a little bit, don't we?
We weren't ready last year. And we weren't ready for the playoffs. But I think we're in a better place this year than we were last year.
Yeah. I think we've got a nice kind of environment and characters and changes. I think my message this year actually will probably be more for the players than the fans. It will probably be more of, if we do achieve what we want to achieve this year and we create that nice environment, it's one of them where if you're winning, you're going to have a headache of picking teams every week. You might have players that aren't playing as much. People will come in for those players. It's one of them, if I say, if you're in for the project, what we want to achieve this year, commit to the project. Let's see how far we can take it. Let's see where we are at Christmas and then at the end of the season. Don't be too hasty with indecisions because things change very quickly in football. And I think that, you are going to have a different kind of headache this year to what you had last year, but it's a much better one where you've got options. And I guess that's going to be your biggest challenge this year, I think, is just keeping players happy. But it's the nature of the beast.
But listen, it's the same challenge every year, keeping people happy. The highs and lows are quite kind of, it's just about trying to keep that an even keel and stay steady and not get too high and not get too low.
All right, well, that's kind of it, really. I'll give you a real quick update on we're not going to do a women's update this year because the women's squad is still very much changing all the time and they've got a bit of a later start to the season. But obviously we'll have plenty of content for you to watch on the women's side and we'll keep you up to date where we can. There'll be live streams again for members. They've got a new home. They've moved to Avery this year. They just beat West Ham, by the way, in an unbelievable friendly, which was a real pinch yourself moment for me, seeing the actual West Ham, women's team play the hashtag women's team and then the hashtag women's team to win was crazy. So, hopefully a successful season for the women as well. Reminder, though, you can get some of these brand new kits. Go and check them out. #UnitedStore.com. And let us know if you get one. Send us a picture of what it looks like because I love these kits. Hummel have smashed it. And yes, you can become a member and get these live streams and these full 90-minute games and all that stuff and help support the club in the process. All the links you need are in the description. We'll see you very soon in our first competitive game of the season. And the FA Cup is only just around the corner. Until next time, do not forget to hashtag it.